Hi, welcome to the quiz. You can answer along on quizalto.com, all for free. The exact URL of this quiz will be in the notes down below. Let's get started, good luck. Which AWS service can be used to store execution history of step functions? Amazon EFS, Amazon S3, AWS Backup, Amazon CloudWatch Logs. Amazon CloudWatch Logs is used by AWS Step Functions to store execution history, providing a detailed record of each state transition and task outcome. What is the purpose of the seconds path field in a wait state? To define a maximum wait time. To set a wait step size. To specify the wait start time. To dynamically set the wait duration. The seconds path field in a wait state of AWS Step Functions allows you to dynamically set the wait duration based on the state's input, providing flexible delays. What is the purpose of the max concurrency field in a map state? To set maximum retries. To limit parallel executions. To define max errors. To specify max duration. The max concurrency field in a map state of AWS Step Functions limits the number of parallel executions, helping to control resource usage and API call rates. Which feature allows step functions to make synchronous function calls? Direct invocation. Lambda integration. Sync state. Synchronous express workflows. Synchronous express workflows in AWS Step Functions allow for synchronous, fast function calls, ideal for microservices architectures requiring quick responses. What is the purpose of the output path field in a state? To select part of the state's output. To validate output data. To compress output. To format the output. The output path field in a state of AWS Step Functions is used to select a portion of the state's output to pass to the next state, allowing you to filter and transform the data. Which state is used to execute tasks in parallel in AWS Step Functions? Multitask. Parallel. Concurrent. Simultaneous. The parallel state in AWS Step Functions allows you to execute multiple branches of tasks concurrently, enhancing efficiency in workflows with independent subtasks. What is the purpose of the processor config in a map state? To specify GPU usage. To set CPU allocation. To configure the item processor function. To define memory limits. The processor config in a map state of AWS Step Functions is used to configure the item processor function, which dynamically processes each item in parallel. Which service can step functions use for machine learning tasks? Amazon Comprehend. Amazon SageMaker. AWS DeepLens. AWS Recognition. Step functions can directly integrate with Amazon SageMaker to orchestrate machine learning workflows, from data preparation to model training and deployment. Which language is used to define state machines in AWS Step Functions? JSON, Python, Java, YAML. State machines in AWS Step Functions are defined using JSON, a lightweight data interchange format that is easy for humans to read and write. What is the purpose of the choice state in AWS Step Functions? To start a parallel execution. To retry failed tasks. To add conditional logic to the workflow. To pass data between states. The choice state in AWS Step Functions allows you to add conditional logic to your workflow, directing the flow based on the output of a previous task or predefined conditions. What is the primary purpose of AWS Step Functions? To offer content delivery network services. To manage relational databases in the cloud. To orchestrate multiple AWS services into serverless workflows. To provide static website hosting. AWS Step Functions is designed to coordinate multiple AWS services into serverless workflows, allowing you to build complex, multi-step processes without managing infrastructure. What is the maximum length of a state machine definition in AWS Step Functions? 256 kilobytes. 512 kilobytes. 1 megabyte. 2 megabytes. The maximum length of a state machine definition in AWS Step Functions is 1 megabyte, allowing for the creation of complex workflows with many states and transitions. Which service can Step Functions use for serverless container orchestration? Amazon EKS, AWS Fargate, AWS Lambda, Amazon Lightsail. Step Functions can use AWS Fargate for serverless container orchestration, allowing you to run containerized tasks without managing servers. Which state is used to handle timeouts in AWS Step Functions? The state with a timeout seconds field. Expiry. Deadlock. Timeout. Any state in AWS Step Functions can handle timeouts by including a timeout seconds field, which specifies how long to wait before considering the state as failed. What is the purpose of the input path field in a state? To define the input format. To encrypt sensitive input. To select part of the state's input. To validate input data. The input path field in a state of AWS Step Functions is used to select a portion of the state's input to pass to the state's task, allowing you to filter and shape the data. What is the maximum number of parallel branches in a parallel state? 100. No fixed limit. 10. 50. AWS Step Functions does not impose a fixed limit on the number of parallel branches in a parallel state, allowing for highly concurrent workflows. Which AWS service can Step Functions use for database migration tasks? Amazon Redshift, Amazon DynamoDB, Amazon RDS, AWS Database Migration Service. Step functions can use AWS DMS to orchestrate database migration tasks, coordinating steps like schema conversion and data replication. What is the purpose of the parameters field in a task state? To configure retry policies. To provide input to the invoked service. To set task priority. To define task timeouts. The parameters field in a task state of AWS Step Functions is used to provide input to the invoked service, allowing you to pass data in the format the service expects. What is the purpose of the fail state in AWS Step Functions? To end the execution as a failure. To log an error. To trigger an alarm. To retry a failed task. The fail state in AWS Step Functions is used to end the execution and mark it as a failure, often used to handle unrecoverable errors or violations of business logic. Which AWS service can Step Functions use for human approval tasks? AWS Lambda. Amazon Simple Notification Service. Amazon Mechanical Turk. Amazon SQS. Step functions can use Amazon SNS to send notifications to humans for approval tasks, pausing the workflow until a decision is received. Which state is used to handle errors in AWS Step Functions? Fail. Error. Exception. Catch. The catch field within a state is used in AWS Step Functions to handle errors, allowing you to define error handling paths for different types of errors. Which service can Step Functions use for data transformation tasks? Amazon Kinesis. AWS Glue. AWS Data Pipeline. AWS Lambda. Step functions can use AWS Glue to perform ETL tasks, leveraging its capabilities for data transformation in big data workflows. What is the purpose of the succeed state in AWS Step Functions? To signal a positive outcome. To mark a task as completed. To end the execution successfully. To indicate a successful API call. The succeed state in AWS Step Functions is used to end the execution successfully, often used when you want to stop the execution early upon meeting certain conditions. What is the purpose of the result path field in a task state? To set the next state's path. To define the task's input path. To indicate the error path. To specify where to place the task's output. The result path field in a task state of AWS Step Function specifies where to place the task's output in the state's input, allowing you to preserve or overwrite the original input. What is the purpose of the max attempts field in a retry policy? To define max errors. To limit concurrent retries. To set the maximum retry attempts. To specify max duration. The max attempts field in a retry policy of AWS Step Functions sets the maximum number of times a task will be retried upon failure. And that's a wrap. Thanks to everyone who participated. Remember, you can answer along on quizalto.com, where you can keep track of your progress and find much more quizzes. We hope you had a fun and challenging time. Until next time. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more. Hit the bell icon to be notified as soon as we upload. Please leave a comment if you have any thoughts or suggestions, and if you think this video is worth sharing with someone who could benefit from it, please forward a link to them. See you next time. Thanks for watching.